I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs spoon. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Rock bottom make the man and some pressure make a gemstone. Trying to put $1 to my name like Creflo. Naja boy, late to the game, it's in the blood flow. And I'm from the south, it's thick skin and tough bone. Big attitude through big lips with gusto. Trust no kings, that's why they tried to crush souls. But it's IGBO, when the dust blow, this old head be standing there. No silver, just gold. Crack no books on the hustle, I was born to grind. Yo, I'm scared of your potential, I'm adorned with mine. 30 times around the sun, man, of course I shine. My legacy will not dwarf with time. And in my daughter's eyes, it's basic, I must not say quit. Every day sees a present like a Rob St. Nick. Walk a fine line between tenacious and patient. I can't slip, I'm fighting clocks and they can't win.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs slow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones.
Impeccably I flow, hardest raps you know, breaking status quo, reaping what I sow, artistry like Van Gogh. Get it from my mama, hip so thick that I need tempo. Personality spicy, body banging like a bongo. Cause black women been it since Timbuktu, since Pharaoh. Sponge rollers and hot combs, lips, cheeks and brow bones. If you ain't for the culture, then please stay out of my zone. These little dummy rappers could never grace my headphones. See, I'm from a place in space where ain't no storytelling, you just had to have been there. If you want the battle, ain't no problem, say where. I got so much experience, I can't even play fair. But I'ma keep evolving and growing and hurting feelings and showing. You need endurance to go in, I got mileage on this pen. I've been busy cause I've been out here schooling all these kids. Took 3 decades to have this glow up that I did.
I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Count my bones as in desert crumbs flow. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. I've got blue souls, cause I'm way gone, trying to find my way back home. Who that soldier in the mirror? Oh, oh. I'm gonna turn all of my stones. Turn all of my
Let's watch.
Don't get me back to good bullshit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here, coming at you with another raw narrative. And it's so good to see all of you guys today. Hey, Jude, thank you for being here. And thank you so much for gifting a membership, Jude. And also, if you got a membership, please say thank you to Hey, Jude. And welcome to the Dragon Tribe. I also see GA64 coming in with the green and blue hearts. Thank you so much. And also, Kimberly Brummett's here. And hello, John Emery. Good to see you. And Peggy, good to see you too. Also, Mama's here and Daisy Duke. Good to see you. Oh, there's the membership. Yep. And we're the Dragon Tribe here, guys, just because I know we have some guys that follow too. So I figured, well, what are we going to call ourselves? Because we have a lot of ladies, but also some guys too. So, hey, Brenda, good to see you. Good to see you here. And also, I wanted to thank everybody who donated. So, yesterday was like whatever my goal day, but I raised like $215, which is really good, guys, especially for gas and stuff like that. So I'm excited. I'm getting everything ready to plan the trip. Like the everything in order for that, right? I was talking about that a little bit last night, but I just want to thank everyone, and I think it'll be fun. We'll still do the drawing, even though I didn't hit the goal, but it'll be really fun. Once I'm down there and stuff like that, we'll kind of do some fun stuff on the fly that I've been thinking about. And I've been working on, behind the scenes. Hey, Leslie, keeping it real. Thank you guys for hitting the like button and also for hyping the videos. I really appreciate that. That is so awesome. Hey, little Miss Sharon, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Also, let's see, who else do I have here? And welcome in everyone. Hello to the Bush people. Hey, Kelly, good to have you. And Forget Me Not is here. Good to see you. Hey, Jude. That's funny. I love the music, guys. The music is from Upbeat, and it's different artists. And I don't know if they're just up and coming or just artists that choose to be a part of that, but it's really cool because I just pay to use their music. And a lot of the music is really awesome. I don't always put it in the description. I'm terrible with that. But really good artists, just to choose from. Hey, Cinderella, good to see you. And I appreciate being able to use their music because I really think music helps to convey a lot of different emotions. Hey, Krista, I have to try to make a fun video for us because I love the video that I did for Pig Fest, but like the song in the background, it's kind of like, you know, islandy, so it fits the channel right because I'm in Florida. Hey, Krista, and she says, I'm at work, everyone. Well, don't work too hard, Krista, and thank you for being here and listening. And also, Prickly Pear, good afternoon, Prickly Pear. Thanks for being here. I love your avatar. Hey, Jude, thank you. Hey, Jude, thank you for bail, $5. Jude, I hope that'd be hilarious. Watch me get a parking ticket. Golly. Hey, Marie McCall, good to see you. Jude, I kick all forms of ass. So, just kidding. Pamela Picks, good to see you. Daisy Duke, you guys are gonna get me in trouble. You guys are naughty. I'm not gonna pay attention to the chat when I'm there. Peggy says ACDC and Clapton, so I heard. ACDC, and that was, yeah, I love Eric Clapton, though. That was my mom's music. She liked Eric Clapton. But no, that's Pink Floyd. But that's from Dark Side of the Moon. Brenda C says, I want to believe that the attic person, but something seems fishy about him, especially when he mentioned barbecue, in my opinion. Yeah, so I was thinking about it, and, I was processing through it, and I'm like, oh, he was just being, like, he was doing a parody in the beginning when he was, or I didn't even want to call it a parody, I guess, like because it was like, I think the first person with the towel was Brittany J, and then, At Night, and then who was it? Betty with the flyers. So I was like, oh yeah, and I was like, okay, I know he was being silly, but then I picked up on it a little bit later, and somebody said Betty style with the staple gun. So I don't think he was really putting a whole lot of his own like opinions in there, if I'm not mistaken. Like, because I didn't watch it again or anything, I was just thinking about it later, and then I was like, well, I don't think he was putting in a lot of his opinions. I think it was more or less like I, my theory is that he talked to Chris. He wanted to get Chris's side out there, whatever he told him. So he was like reporting what Chris was telling him. And I have a post too that he had two posts I reposted of his. So we'll go over that too. Because it was interesting. The live was interesting and it was something new. So I was like, cool. I mean, because we were going to go over Smiley's interview again. Um, which is kind of nerve-wracking and not hey, Jude, and not like as entertaining, right? Because it's just like Chris being a jerk up there, you know? So it's aggravating more so. And I wasn't as aggravated last night. I was more shocked. Like I was like, okay, 3 cameras were taken. That's what piqued my interest to begin with, right off the bat. This 3 cameras being taken, one of which was in Faith's room. And I just like lost it from there. I'm like, I gotta hear this. But that's what really drew me in to begin with. But I don't think he was really saying anything. I think he's basically saying what he heard from Chris. And then of course there were a lot of the people that like well, they're trolling. They're trolling, and so they get really excited whenever they're trolling and they're pushing a lie and the creator falls for it and says the lie out loud. They love that shit. That's one of the things that they like to do to people that don't like know any better, right? Like because they're being an asshole. It's like it takes a while to understand what they're doing, but that's what they were doing to him, in my opinion, was like, oh, let's see if we can get him to say that, um, what did Joe call it? Seth is the Ron Jeremy. Seth is Ron Jeremy of YouTube, and he is just, he's all Thank you, Holly S. I could listen to your Pigfest song on loop all day. Isn't it fun, right? So Holly S, I love that. We need to have like maybe I'll do a beach video with it because I got some cool pictures in the Keys. Like, I don't know, I was taking it all in more than like filming. So that's why I'm glad to be a little bit older where we didn't always have a cell phone to do that with because I really do like taking it in stuff, like and looking around for myself. And I don't know, it's hard to do that when you're trying to film it. Um, so because there was a lot, like I didn't even know there was like Florida Indians that lived down there, and then there's this like huge casino, but there's like a whole bunch of tribal land down there too. So like that was another thing that was pretty cool down in the Keys. You need a boat like, otherwise, I mean, it's like there's like a road that goes through, and I mean, obviously there's other roads, but the road that we were going through, there was all kinds of like different stops that you could make, and of course, they're famous for like key lime pie and stuff like that. Which I didn't have any key lime pie, but I had street tacos and they were the bomb. So, that was cool. But I'll have to do that with that video because I love that song. It's cute. Hey, little Miss Sharon, thanks for the super sticker. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Pigfest is going to be a lot of fun, I think. I'm excited to meet everybody. Hey, Andrea, good to see you. And maybe they'll get a picture of me giving Seth a hug and they could say that he's, the Papi Chulo of YouTube. He sleeps with all the girls on YouTube, which I'm sorry. I just, it's not that I'm laughing at Seth, it's the fact that I'm laughing at the idea of it because, like, if it was true, I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, okay," but it's wow, I was like so. Hey, Chuchi, good to have you here, hon. And, I got your emails too, Chuchi. I just didn't have a chance to get back to you, and I'm sorry. Last night we were on live for a long time because I was stalling in the beginning. Because I was waiting for the video to load, that I put the music in the background and changed, so put some filters on it, stuff like that. But yeah, I think it was a good live. I know it's long. Now, if you guys want to just like see the shortened version of where I just kind of took stuff out and put some music in the background, you can see that. It's like an hour video. But it's not interrupted with my commentary, like you're able to actually hear what he's saying, Chris Proudfoot told to him. Because the story is like this. He was down there, or he was up there, excuse me, because he's from Florida. So he went up to Tennessee, and he ended up passing the flyers out or whatever. He said he ran out of flyers, so Barbecue Lady to the rescue says, "Hey, Chris Proudfoot has flyers for you." A lot like what happened with Terry Lynn and the park people. And Crabtree was in on that too, so it's just like kind of weird. But we were talking about that last night. But either way, that's how he was telling the story. Like, yeah, I ran out of flyers, and obviously, it's nice to have more. So he went ahead and took some flyers from Chris Proudfoot. When he went to go grab the flyers from him, that's when they had a conversation. And then Chris was like, "There's three things that you can't talk about," and then they talked about the cameras, and then it was weird because then it was three cameras too. So we got threes, 3 a.m. light, 333. Star Lambert, if you're in here, or Magic Star, excuse me, you know exactly about that, right? Because you and I talked about that, like what's with the threes. So me and Star used to talk about the case a lot, actually, on the phone. So I know if she watches this on the replay, hopefully, if you're on the replay, leave me a comment, Star. Um, Miss Ann, good to see you. That's Joshua's favorite. Aw. He had good taste in music, I'm telling you. Holly S says, "I was in and out of sleep, just not feeling great." Aw. But I heard the part about the cameras. Isn't that weird though, Holly? Like, okay, three cameras after Sebastian went missing that were there after. They weren't there before he went missing, allegedly, right? Because this is hearsay, obviously. We're hearing it from, someone who talked to Chris, and then, but yeah. I just don't know why they would want cameras from Faith's room anyway. Like, why would they have cameras in Faith's room? I was mortified with that. If it was like a family that was not a blended family, I wouldn't think of it. I would think that is weird in and of itself when they're not babies. But I also would think, okay, well, at least it's two parents in the house making a decision for their family, not, Katie with nah, gosh, poor Nina. Poor Nina, poor Faith, because that's fucked up. I couldn't handle that. I would be in trouble. Selena Dixon, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hey, Zoomer Opinion. Now we know for sure the Proudfoots are suspects, or they never would have seized their electronics a year later. Well, and I wonder about the interviews, because that interview with Katie was weird, right? That interview with Katie when she messed up really, really bad, that was weird. And that's what makes me wonder, because her doing that like Sebastian would have, and then the oh shit, and then the Lamaze breathing. Yeah, that is I think Nerdy Addict should watch that one. I wonder if Peep's been sending him that one, because I mean he needs to see that. That's Katie, and that's why she hides and she doesn't talk, and then Chris goes over there and he just talks all kinds of nonsense, like saying Sumner County thinks Sebastian is dead and that he hit his head and fell, hit his head on a rock and fell into the river. That's crazy shit. And I in no way, shape, or form believe that, by the way. As a matter of fact, I would like to ask Craddock that, but he probably don't want to talk to me because I've roasted him here. But, I mean, he's snug strugs. But I doubt he believes that, because if he believed that, why wouldn't he be over there looking back at the forest, or excuse me, looking back at the river again? How come he wasn't really like, I mean, because if you really think that, wouldn't you be checking the river, right? Sending out search teams every now and then, telling people, make sure that you look in the waterways, especially when the water's down. Come on. Sebastian didn't just wander off with no shoes on, walk 7 miles with no shoes, just socks or just bare feet. Man, I wish I had the time. If I was going to be there for like 2 weeks, I would do that. I walk either direction anyway from their house and show you guys. Fuck my feet up for you. Just for Sebastian, because that's a, I mean, there's no way that kid would have made anywhere with no shoes and even socks. Your socks would be wholly pretty quick, especially if you go through the woods, right? Because around everywhere is woods. and then you have the main road. But it's, there's wooded areas all around his house, you know? Yeah, I think people are coming in late to the case too, Little Miss Sharon. And hey, I feel that because that's how I am even just coming into Devlin's case at the 5 month mark. That's about the time that I started researching it more, looking into it, talking with other people, having people on the panel. So yeah, I mean, like I was literally you know, like taking in all of this information at once, and so were you guys that were following the case, here too. It's like we were just getting all of this information, and then some of it was off and some of it wasn't right, and then we finally kind of, I think, are getting back on track with trying to understand the timeline, even though like in my thumbnail, I just don't believe that, I think that Sabrina has guilty knowledge, and everybody's talking to me besides Sabrina. I also think it's odd with, Tim Hatfield. That dynamic is weird because if that's really Devlin's dad, then how come, he hasn't come out and talked, or how come he hasn't shown any interest in finding his son? Why did they take him away from Tim too? It's just all it's all a bad deal. Um, no support, just being mean spirited, and that's not a family atmosphere, right? That's not what you do to family, and that's not what you do to people in general. If they're struggling, give them a hand, right? Don't kick them when they're down. Hey, blessings, good to see you. So, that's my thing about it, and I feel like it's kind of crazy to take away, kids having kids, but you help them out. You don't, I mean, I don't know. That's a whole nother show, I suppose. Um, yeah, Seth's gonna be there. Oh yeah, Seth will be at Pigfest. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and Chuchi, was helping with resources for Jessica too. I just also want to shout out too, if you guys haven't heard about it yet, because the United Cajun Navy is involved, and Jessica signed the paperwork with them, so they are going to be looking for Devlin. So I'm super excited about that. I'll keep you guys updated on the latest. Obviously, they do a lot of search and rescue efforts, and so I'm not hurrying that process at all. So as soon as we find out information, I'll definitely give you guys information. Now, also want to talk about really quick, briefly, about Saturday. I'm doing a collaboration. It'll be here on the channel, but we're going to multi-stream it. So it'll be Little Red, it'll be Sprinkled Donut, and myself. And then we're also going to have a couple panel guests, Jessica and also Tina, who was on the show the other day. So Tina is one of Devlin's grandparents, right? Because Adam Nolan, according to Jessica, is Devlin's father, right? And I can only believe his mother and what she says, and again, I can't do the paternity stuff. I can't do anything with DNA. I am just a YouTuber. I'm a regular person with, a mouth. That's it. I don't, in a brain. Thank God for that. So with that being said, I can't say heads or tails of any of it. I just think that Devlin needs everybody to love and support him and find him. Hey, Gina H. That means cameras were in Sebastian's room, in my opinion. Well, remember in the beginning, that's what everybody was saying, and that there was cameras like even towards the kitchen, and he couldn't get food. Right? And then what did Katie see him rummaging for snacks? I can't stand when she says he was rummaging. The kid was rummaging in his own house. Are you not a mother? Because you don't like to feed people, Katie. That's weird. You won't even let him have another roll, man. I'm sorry. I love to feed my kid. I love to feed other people. Who am I kidding? You come over to my house for dinner and I'm cooking food for you. I'm not going to just be like, I don't know, it's weird. It's very strange. Withholding and that sort of restriction, in my opinion, is not love. It's the opposite. It's absolutely the opposite. Yeah, CP doesn't trust Katie. Prickly Pear, that's a good point. And I don't think that like Katie trusts herself, because she's always saying like, Chris mispronounces words, and Katie will say the complete wrong word. Like he doves animals, and she doesn't correct herself either. She doesn't say, I'm sorry, I meant to say he loves animals, right? She just goes, he doves them. And I'm like, what is he doves animals? Like she's Katie is, there's something wrong with Katie. And I'm not saying that she's mentally like handicapped or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there's something wrong with Katie. Her brain there's something wrong with that girl. He doves animals and then you don't correct yourself. But the minute that you notice that you're about to spill the beans and say, he would have been, and then oh shit, and we all got you on camera doing it at a year, but you don't correct that. Weird. No, you just said oh shit, and did the Lamaze, breathe in and out. What Duchess told you to do, take a deep breath. So good to see you, Laura Arnold. Thanks for being here. So yeah, it's a lot with Katie. Gina says KP said the public doesn't need to know their business. Well, there you go. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, it's not about their business. I don't give a shit about their business. If they would have told us if she would have told us a correct timeline to begin with, I wouldn't give a shit about her business. I'm more focused on what happened that day, Katie, because you've never really told us the truth, have you? Right? There's time lapses, temporal lagune. I think I said that right. Deception detective, deception deck, right? A lapse in time. There's too many of those. Fun fact, I made breakfast. Spaghetti pancakes. Google it, y'all. And the rudeness towards the public for asking questions. Sandwich, good to see you. Walking in sandals for hours. I couldn't do it to my feet were blistered. Yeah, true. Yes. And I thought I was walking out the shoe without would be better. Yeah, just walking without one. Yeah, it's worse. Yeah, true. Or I know because I've taken high heels off and done that for for a second. I was lost, by the way. That's funny. Sandwich. Yeah, yeah. Even when your feet are hurting and you try to take off your shoes because they're hurting, it's better to have shoes than to not have shoes. Thanks, Sandwich. Yeah, absolutely. Um, it's just, and see, those are the little things that it's like the Ola punch in the face, right? Right there was Ola punch in the face. Weird story doesn't match, doesn't make sense. Lover Girl says Chris said a bunch of stuff to Nerdy Addict that is irrational or didn't align with things he said in the past. Yeah, very much so, Lover Girl. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what the body language expert says. But then again, also in the post that I'm going to read you guys, it just kind of triggered my memory. He also mentions that he didn't watch any of the interviews. Like he's never watched them. Nerdy Attic has not. And I think he's got a girlfriend too on there, or wife is Eva. So they do the channel together, as far as I see on there, because I haven't watched any more of his videos, but I got a notification for that post. Or there's two of them I shared actually. Hey, Bliss Blessings, thank you so much for becoming a new member. Welcome to the Dragon Tribe. Thank you. The prophets really don't give a crap. No, they don't. That's why it's weird with the flyers, Jude. Because it's like, oh yeah, here's these flyers because we don't hand them out, right? And they never share them with Seth. If it was me, I would just go and drop them off on his doorstep. If it was me, I would feel so guilty for losing our son. Like, I don't even know. I would feel horrible. But I don't think Katie lost Sebastian. I think she knows where he is, unfortunately. Cinderella says the streamer that released this goes into the boot barn, and Sebastian is holding a pair of hiking boots. That caught my attention. The streamer made inquiries, and it's so sus to me. Did Sebastian get those? Well, yeah, he's like, you guys don't sell these here, do you? And like, there clearly was all kinds of different hiking boots, and that's what Sebastian had in his hand at the boot barn. Like, where else would you get hiking boots besides the? I mean, I'm obviously they sell them at like Bass Pro and stuff. I know, but even probably Penny's has them. I mean, um, aw, yay, hey Jude. CP wanted Dolly and got nerdy. That's funny, Gina. I thought about that too. That's funny that you say that because I thought that too. I was like, well, maybe Dolly declined. So I would never mess with that group again if what I mean, I don't either way, but I mean, I'm just saying because what Elevated Goof said to PJ over there, and that was horrible, and I'm not like buddy buddy with any of them people either, but or PJ or Dolly, I should say, but nah, that guy's a true blue dick, and like there's people that still follow him, then more power to him, but yeah, you don't talk to women like that. I mean, I don't know. It's just weird that this guy would go after a woman, and the guy's sitting there answering. Dolly says Dolly, and he answers the phone. So I mean, like I said, I call him elevated goof for a reason. You know. Yes. I'm so excited, Holly. It's great. It's great. And then yeah, like Tucci sends me over the information. We send it over to Jessica, and she just, got them on board. And, the families have to be the ones to do that. We can't do it. We can only do so much and get the resources over there. So I'm excited. And and it's sad that the other side of the family chooses not to do that, um and you can't give up. You have to keep going. You have to keep going. If one organization says we can't do it because of this red tape or something, then you go to the next one. And Ann Reynolds, thank you for sending over Doug Bishop's information. Because he's another one. Like in Kylie Rodney's case, they're the ones that found Kylie Rodney. The police didn't. They actually were looking in the very same spot, and then there was like a laptop over there. It was a whole deal. So, I love cooking up a storm too, Andrea. And Katie is supposedly, according to Yeda, she went to school for culinary arts. So, um, I went to school for culinary arts when I watched Julia Childs and Chef Ramsay or any of those people. Public access cooking shows is how I learned, and family. My mom, my grandmas, stuff like that. So that's how I know how to make Mexican food, and that's how I know how to make Polish food and my mom's side and that sort of thing. So I have cameras in my home, but not in bedrooms that invading someone's privacy. Yeah, privacy, in my opinion. I agree, Chuchi. I went crazy about that because, like, what if she's getting dressed or something? And I just don't like that idea at all, especially with Chris and Katie, because they're so like. I'm not saying that people that are swingers are like into the, doing stuff bad to kids, but I'm saying because everybody can make their own decisions on who they sleep with or whatever, who they're married to, all that kind of stuff. To me, that's up to them. I don't want to know about it, though. I don't want to hear about your nasty crap in your bedroom. Like, keep it there. And why would you want to share that anyway? Sandwich, she said the Bon, right? When she was talking about the barn on Nancy Grace, the Bon, and she did not well, actually, I think she did try to correct herself on that. I'd have to double check. The Bon. Oh, shit. Oh, Leslie, keeping it real. Good to have you as a new member. Thank you so much. And welcome to the Dragon Tribe. Hey, Pebbles. Good to see you. Oh, my goodness, Pebbles. Prickly Pear says CP needs to sleep with one eye open, in my opinion. I would. Well, he did. Somebody asked him, I can't remember how long ago it was, but they asked him about, do you think Katie did something to Sebastian? I think that was on Duchess on March 17th. He said that. Uh, I'm hurt that somebody would think that I thought Katie had something to do with it. And I'm like, well, it's not about being hurt. No one's trying to hurt your feelings. What it's about is like, obviously she was the last one there. So, and then I remember Duchess saying, do you think that Chris did anything? Well, how could Chris have done anything you know, it wasn't caught on camera because their house was on camera. Whether they had cameras at their house or not, their house was on camera in the neighborhood from the other homes, right? So even though I think they were trying to, you know, screw with the cameras and stuff like that, because if they, you know, if it wasn't a system failure on the house's part, right? And I'm referring to um, when their camera was jammed for days and then went back to normal. I think it was hacked because that's the only way that it could have been because we had our camera pajama party that one night when I did that funny picture of me. And yeah, it's just that's the only way because that camera's hardwired, so it couldn't have been jammed up like by like a Wi-Fi jammer thing. Um, so it had to have been hacked. If somebody did hack it, it could have just been stuck and then went back to normal. I mean, I'm not gonna say that is impossible. And plus, I'm not like everything that we talked about, we kind of researched on the show, so it wasn't like anything that I'm an expert at by any means, you know. If I get a camera system, I'm like, okay, I'm just hoping it records stuff and, you know, I don't try to look into it. It doesn't interest me, you know, but it does in this case. So we talked about it. The food thing's gross, right? Yeah, but they seem to be about deprivation. Yeah, and that's the thing, Holly S. It's just not like any type of a love, right? Like, I don't know. It's like, you know, if you make somebody's favorite food, like you're so excited to make it for them and, you know, just the way they like it. And, you know, you just try to be loving towards your family and people that you care about. I mean, yeah, everybody has, you know, issues. If you're with someone long enough, you get sick of each other, you know, you disagree, whatever, but you also love them at the end of the day still, try to take care of them and, you know, I don't know. It's just that like the nurturing factor is not there for Katie and we saw that at the Texas Roadhouse. I mean, it was just clear as day. If anybody watches the Texas Roadhouse video and doesn't, you know, take pause at the actions. I mean, I know it's kind of boring because there's no sound to the video. You really have to pay attention to the body language in the Texas Roadhouse video to see the dynamic, right? And it's not the full footage. I want the raw footage from the Texas Roadhouse from the time they walk in the door until the time I want it from the time they pull the parking lot and they can be caught on camera until the end of it. And I don't want anybody to have edited it or anything like that because that's another thing that's hard in this case, right? Because we're seeing edited footage from somewhere else. And even though I'm not saying that At Night did anything to the footage, it's just not raw, right? It's their edits. It's like me editing the video that I did last night. You know, I didn't add anything to his video or like put any words in his mouth or anything. I'm just saying. But I did edit that video out. So if you wanted to watch his full video, you'd have to go to his page to see it all, right? Without me taking any edits out, which I usually do way more edits. I was like scrambling because I thought it was interesting. I mean, you know, they leave people hanging all the time, and it is disrespectful, in my opinion. So, welcome in everyone. Hey, Coffee Crime and Cats, good to see you. Thanks for being here, guys. And let me go ahead and pull this post up. I know I'm super behind in chat. I'm sorry. I get that way when I'm just gabbing along. Hey, Rusty Pipes, good to have you. Also, Carrie Jackson, thanks for being here, Carrie Jackson. I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody. I saw you guys. I'm kind of going down the line, but I appreciate you guys being here. Lady Freedom, I see somebody, Gina. Clue is a bronze sponsor for Pigfest, so it's 1K. I sent the video of her disgusting comments. Oh Jesus, regarding Brittany to the lady in charge of fundraising. Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, I hope they don't do anything awful. Like you know. Yeah, I heard that allegedly. Yeah, I heard that as well, that they went on a motorcycle thing. I don't understand that. I'm not trying to ride a motorcycle with Seth. I'm trying to help him pass flyers out. Hey, seclusion works, you know. You know, our friend Ron. I'm gonna start calling Seth Ron Jeremy of YouTube. That was really funny. I laughed about that hours after Joe said that. Cheryl Stayer, good to see you. Says my daughter will sneak in the kitchen and get a zebra cake. I tell her she can have whatever she wants to eat. She doesn't have to hide it. She says, I know. Zebra cakes are good. I like zebra cakes. I'm not like a big fan of like the snack cakes, but that's one that I do like. Um, or like the Christmas ones that are trees. Those are good too. That's cute though. Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if because you can't let them like eat all kind of snacks. Yeah, the little Debbies, right? You have to have because some kids they'll eat like any that's all they want to eat, right? They want to eat chicken nuggets, they want to eat crap food, and you're like, hey, buddy, you need to eat some good stuff every now and then, right? But it's about trying new things and seeing what they like. So, oh, there's a new ruling on Ellen Greenberg's death. I just saw that when I popped over to pull in this post. Interesting. I'll have to go check that out. Ellen Greenberg's case reminds me of Crystal McCrory Jones's case a lot. I wonder what the judge ruled now because I pray for Crystal and Jana all the time. All the time I think about them. Let's see. Nerdy Addict, here he is. So it's not so Proudfoot. I'm not surprised. I was being a stinker earlier. Okay, here we go. Imagine that. All right, so here's my community tab, and I reposted from Nerdy. Okay, so this is what he posted. Now, guys, I think he goes to X more too, and I didn't even get a chance to look over at X. Let me see. Can you guys see this? Oh, darn. All right. No, I don't want that huge. Hold on, sorry. No, I don't want to go to his page. I wanted to read his post from my page. All right. Here we go. I think if I do it like this. Oh, I don't think he posted more from this. How do I? Oh, I guess I will have to go there. Sorry, guys. I will have to go there for that. So I can double click on it. Oh, this is probably all it is. Sorry. All right. I thought there was more to it for some reason. So this is what he posted on his page. The live wasn't about comparing his words, especially since I've never watched his interviews. My only goal is to accurately share the conversation I had, right? So he's just saying, like, look, the only thing I was trying to do was tell everybody what Chris told me, basically, right? And then he says, when I said on X that Caden Spite shot himself in the leg, people doubted it, but it turned out to be true. My lane is mine to control, and there's never a reason to lie about a case. If other statements shift, their lane's not mine, right? So he's just, I don't know what was said, but either way, this is Chris, right? And it says the following are off record. This is from, I mean, that just sounds like his stupidity. Warrant, comma, Sebastian's behavioral stuff, comma, and stuff about the dogs. Stuff about the dogs. Weird, right? This is the first time I've chatted in Lady Freedoms, but always in the bushes. Aw, thanks for being here, Cheryl. I appreciate you. Yeah, guys, don't feel shy. Come on out of the bushes. I usually have a scroll that says that. Or sometimes I put it up. Sometimes the scroll on the bottom gets in the way, so I'm like, yeah. But what is Chris's alibi for the night? He was working. Anyone see him? It's shady. His whole alibi is off, right? Because one thing I will say is that according to the police, they think he was in Memphis, but there's other people that are thinking that he might not have been. And I'm one of them because I don't really believe much in this case, Carrie, because there's not a whole lot of solid information, come out to play, Jude. But, so it's, yeah, it's one of those things. I just don't know. He supposedly was at Memphis at the St. Jude Project because he's a tower crane operator. So, yeah, Carrie, we had a PI working in the case in the beginning. Her name was Heather Cohen, and she called his supposed coworker, but I think it was set up by Chris. The thing is they set up people Chris's family is very strange. There's a very odd dynamic in that family, where they come together to do bad things and to save Chris from, his own mouth and actions, in my opinion, you know. Um, so, you know, it's but and then also he wants to talk to people and tell people information, but then he tells them that some of the stuff is off record, and it's just weird to me. Like, if he told me not to talk about Sebastian's behavioral stuff, I mean, anything. I mean, I don't know. That would cause me to pause, because I think that Sebastian's behavioral issues were a big part of it, especially if they were thinking about putting him in like a school somewhere for his behavioral issues, not because they wanted him to have the best therapies for his autism or anything like that, right? Or that they were getting too old and they were afraid that Sebastian wouldn't have anybody to take care of him after they passed away. Something like that. That's what people with special needs as families actually think about all the time, right? Because think about it. If you have a child that can, function taking care of himself, yeah, but he needs assistance, he needs extra help, you're going to worry about him if you're getting older, and nobody's promised tomorrow. So just honestly, I would think about that all the time. You know, I mean, my daughter is successful. She's on her own. She's, getting her master's degree, but I still worry about that because I lost my mom when I was 22 years old and it was tough on me. I missed her. I didn't have a person to give me guidance anymore, and I mean, you still need that kind of stuff throughout your life. You need good people around you, so but when it comes to somebody who has special needs, that's always a main topic of conversation. Children aging out of the system is a huge topic of conversation because they worry about their kids. What happens to my kids if something happens to me, especially when you're their caregiver and they need you? Well, Patty Lee, that has not been confirmed or denied. I mean, Chris never talked about a poker game to my knowledge. The person that said that was Terry Lynn, in my opinion. That's where I heard it from anyway. But she's also the same person that said that Seth was sleeping in his vehicle too. So she said, things about both sides of the case. Well, she's played both sides too. Don't be shy, Bush people. Yeah, come join the conversation. I do enjoy other people's opinions too, guys. Like, I just really do. I think it's important. Did the police track mom's phone from the night the Texas Roadhouse? They did seize electronics. So that was another thing they talked about last night too, was seizing some more electronics a year into Sebastian's disappearance. Around the year anniversary, they took more electronics. So I don't know if that was in order to see what they had been talking about, but I bet you they're still going over that information, you know? So I would think that they would be smart enough if they had any conversations about that, it would be in person, you know? I mean, that would, if I did something that dirty and I was trying to hide it, um, yeah, I'd be talking to people that knew about it in person. There's no way I'd ever talk about it over the phone. I mean, that's just not smart at all. Since the poker game rumor came from Terry Lynn, it could be just another lie. Yeah, that's my thing on it too. Hey Jude, definitely. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure about it. Hey girl mom too, good to see ya. Bliss Blessing says, I thought it was weird that person, I'm assuming nerdy addict, who walked up to the person fishing and said he was at night and specified with a K. Did anyone else hear that? Yeah, Bliss. So he was saying that to a couple of people, like he was changing words with N's with and adding a K to it. And he was basically just, quote on, so to speak, like making fun of different creators. Like once I kind of processed through his little parody thing, because I was more focused on what he was talking to Chris about than to worry about like what his what his style was. But it seems like his style is to like kind of be silly. And first it was Brittany J with the towel on his head is who he was doing parody of, and then it seemed like he was doing At Night, right? Because he's like um my probation officer says I'm a nightmare, but he spells it with a K. And then he's like, I'm At Night Intelligence, but with a K. And that would spell, like a knight, like a white knight riding on a horse kind of a thing. Um, so interesting, you know. And then he was doing Bullhorn Betty with the stapling the flyers to the trees. And I don't know if he was parroting anybody else. So, Little Miss Sharon says, also, in my opinion, Nerdy has a panel guest. Know nothing of CP's past behavior issues. Yeah, or they do, and they're just trying to divert his attention over too, because I mean, they were like saying things about Seth then, and saying that he couldn't possibly have been around his kid very much, but he had him every other weekend. I mean, that's like any other parent of a divorce that has that arrangement. When you don't want the kids to have to go back and forth all week, you let them stay somewhere in the week, go to school, focus on their life, and stuff like that, because bouncing the kids around, in my opinion, isn't good. It's a red flag for sure. For sure, Jude. Bliss Blessings, I only listened to like 15 minutes of him and was lost. Well, and basically, and I kind of wanted to show like, what he was doing in the area to kind of make sure I kept everything in context, too. But yeah, he was basically like, he went to Tennessee in order to do that. And I don't think it was really about passing out flyers. I think he was probably going down there to talk to Chris, because like, Gina had said earlier, like he had asked Dolly to come out and help him with drone stuff, but I don't know, maybe Dolly still is. I don't know. Um Particularly, but it seems like he was going down there just to meet Chris, because that was the same deal that happened with Terry Lynn. Oh yeah, barbecue lady, go to Chris for some flyers, and then go sit in his truck and talk to him. And then this guy reported on it. But see, Chris was supposed to come onto his show with Stephen Crabtree, but they ended up like, flaking at the last minute. And so this guy felt disrespected, and I would too. I'd be like, quit playing with me. I don't have time for your shit. But yeah, Chris tells him then the following subjects are off record. Warrant, right? The warrant for his house, right? That happened last year, or excuse me, in the beginning of the year. Sebastian's behavioral stuff is off the record, and the stuff about the dogs is off the record. So when Nerdy felt disrespected, he decided that he was going to go and he was going to talk about the shit that was off record. This is great. We're going to play hindsight too. So then he also posted too, regarding the Sebastian Rogers live stream. This was the second time it was pushed, and not because of me. Both Steven and Chris confirmed yesterday that they would join, and then they went to radio silent until I posted on X. 60 seconds after I mentioned that I'd be revealing information they didn't want disclosed, Chris Proudfoot called my cell phone, which means he saw the earlier tweets explaining I had delayed 15 minutes because they had gone silent. They confirmed everything for me, and I don't play games. I don't tolerate disrespect. It always works out better this way, because now I can disclose those details, see everyone tomorrow, right? And I understand exactly what he's saying as a creator. I will say that. Because it's a tough position to be in when you're trying to work with people and they're fucking with you. It's actually very annoying, and I've been dealing with that with the Tates. Girl Mom 2 says, did you see Nerdy Attic posted a screenshot of CP's message? Yes. And I don't know, is it this one though? No, I guess I didn't see. Actually, no, I don't think I did, Girl Mom. It wasn't this text message that I just showed before. is the following off record. But I don't know if there was more. See, because those people love to talk. Because they're trying to shift the narrative. They're trying to get ahead of things. They're doing damage control. You know? Pebbles says she saw it. Yes, that's so true, lady. I have a 32-year-old that has cerebral palsy, and we worry so much about him when we pass on. Aw, he still lives at home with us. Yeah, Kelly, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate you for doing that because I remember when I took care of people with special needs, that was like a big concern. And there's also been a lot of, people who have done research, and there's been documentaries made about kids aging out. And even the teachers have concern, for the kids, because what happens to them, right? Like when they're not doing the therapies every day, they have to be reminded. Some of them have, more profound autism and need a lot of extra help. Some of them just need a little bit. um you know Cheryl says, I worry every day my child has Down syndrome. Thanks, Cheryl. Yeah, I mean, and our friend Trishy says that our homies with an extra chromie. I love that too. Hey Nero V, good to see you. Yes, every bit, red flag, red flag, every single bit of it, Holly. Heather Marie says, I think KP had a smartwatch on that night at the Texas Roadhouse. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Yeah, she's never worn again since. Kind of suspicious, in my opinion. Now, I don't know if it was the same one that she was wearing at the Mexican restaurant with Faith. So, thanks, girl mom. Holly S says, also, maybe if someone has him, they might need to know about his behaviors and what sets him off. Very true. And that's the same thing with Devlin, right? Because even Crime Time Buzz was asking Tamara about, hey, if he's not on his medicines, then is he going to be more aggressive, and less friendly? He said no. She said no. Unless somebody sets him off. But see that again. It's like, can you be more specific? Yeah, that is very true, Gina. At night had with an N. At night, spelled phonetically. Had the footage. Chrissy's truck was at Mommy's Friday before, in my opinion. I do remember that too, Gina. I do. They should. They should. I would. I'd be tempted to. If I could do that, I would. I mean, not to be a weirdo or anything, but you want to hear what they're saying. Yeah, see, Patty, your gut is better than mine. Because I kind of, that's a sore spot because I did believe her. Carrie Jackson says Tamara was trashing Jessica again, today again. She sent you screenshots. Thank you, Carrie Jackson. I saw that. Yeah, of course she is. You know, of course she is. And it doesn't surprise me, right? Because that's what they've been doing from the beginning to her. And finally, she's getting to, um, have her voice heard, be an advocate for her son. So of course they're upset about that. Instead of doing the right thing, but I don't expect them to do that. Joe says, are we at war with Nerdy? I hope so. I hate him. Joe, I don't know if that's a spray bottle comment or if you're teasing. Okay. I can pay attention. Hey, Little Red, thanks for being here. No, she is very untrustworthy. She's gosh, if you, all you have to do is go on Reddit and look up bottom feeders of YouTube, and it says everything right there. Holly S says, "Girl, mom, yeah, that warrant turned out to be exactly what we all knew it was." And see, yeah, that's the thing too. I wanted to share with you guys on hindsight, because see, hindsight was covering that more than I was back then. So I thought that was interesting. So thank you, Little Red. Thank you so much. Bliss Blessing says it looks like the screenshot shows they might have blocked Chris at the red circle. Yeah, I noticed that too. Bliss, yes, thank you for pointing that out. That's funny. If it was my phone, he would have been programmed in a step foot. So, that's terrible. No, I banned Chris from ever coming on the platform. This was when I even thought I would ever go live. I was just still making videos. I had 500 people or something at this point, maybe less than that even. And I was like, Chris is not allowed on my show. I don't know why people giving him a platform. He's a total jerk. Like you have to, he's just rude, but it's also for shock value. Right. And some people like the shock value and they're like, okay, people are going to come in and watch it. But it is, obviously we want to know what they have to say since obviously he went missing from their home, So Chi says Tamara will attack anyone who does fit her feelings or narrative that what guilty people do, in my opinion. Well, and two, she swears up and down that she wasn't being abusive to Devlin, but she was being abusive to him, right? Verbally, we have proof of that. We have that mental, if we think about the mental anguish that he was going through, she was forcing him to clean up after her cats, her animals, feed them, do the dishes from them being home, different things like that, and then cutting him off from the electric when he said, you know what, I'm not cleaning, I'm not your maid, right? It's like, here, kid, room and board, and it reminds me of, whoops, my big head. It reminds me a lot of, Miss Hannigan, the drunk lady on, or Little Orphan Annie, um, you know, that's probably how Devlin felt, right? Oh, Miss Hannigan there. Hey, Jessica. Good to see you on. Good to see you. Oh, there goes Django. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry guys. He was like barking at somebody. Oh, there he goes again. Sorry. Yeah, Gina, I bet you he is big. Well, he did it to himself. Why you disrespecting people like that? Quit being a jerk. Hey, Mama Bear. Chris tells the nerdy, don't tell anyone, but Sebastian had to be watched like a hawk. He didn't want Sebastian around his daughter, wouldn't move to dad's. CPS was his, when he's trying to get custody of his daughter. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Why does Chris seek out people who are struggling with sobriety respectfully? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's because I think because he probably wants them. I mean, I think Chris pays people to push his narrative, right? Like he's like, oh, I'll get you more subscribers and people to come in there because that's what they do. They'll go buy up a bunch of memberships and stuff like that and go in his chat, and Barbecue Lady will go in there and drop like 50 memberships, right? And like my memberships are I think $3.99. So, I think there's like $2.99, $3.99. I think that's what it is. Either way, at $50 or excuse me, 50 memberships, at that rate, you know, is quite a big donation, quote unquote. So that's what you get if you sign on with the hate channels. You'll get all of those people. You'll have 1,000 people in your chat every night, and they'll be dropping money like left and right. And then, that's the appeal to it, in my opinion. And then, yeah, it's like because people in that position would do anything, for money and stuff. But I get a more of a vibe that he's like a true crime channel, and I think maybe, they thought that they could, because, again, if you're new to the case and never have heard Chris's interviews and like really heard Katie do the fake cry bit and all that kind of stuff, then you're gonna, you're not gonna know. So CP's never not mad, right? Yeah, he's always big mad. Exactly, Chi-Chi. Oh, my Lord. Aw, thank you, Hey Jude. Could we do blue hearts and for Jessica and Devlin? Aw, thanks, Hey Jude. Well, whatever happened to Terry Lynn, I unsubscribed from Hedge a long time ago. I don't know. I haven't even, like I don't have the slightest clue. Um, I don't know. So I don't, and I'm not trying to be rude. I just don't care, I mean, when it pertains to the case, when she's involved in that time frame and things, yeah, we'll discuss it. But otherwise, I'm like, she's a bottom feeder of YouTube. Holly S says I'm legit going to store for a zebra cake right now. I've been on the on the track all day. Oh well, not anymore. That's funny. I love zebra cakes. Those are really good. Nerdy also posted Katie lied about why her phone was missing, in my opinion. Oh, I need to go over and check that out. Yeah. It's surprising how much information people give YouTubers, you know. So, yeah, he's pathological for sure. I agree. And Nancy Grace did an interview with the agent that did Seth's lie detector test. I remember it. And he said Seth was intense, and the person also trains the FBI testers. I believe him and Nancy. Yeah, Bliss, that's another thing that was really, you know, clear, that it was crystal clear that Chris, was involved in that as well. With telling him, oh, he didn't take a polygraph test with the TBI, he was refusing to take one. I was like, oh, that definitely sounds like Chris. Um, you know, but the fact of the matter is that the TBI didn't ask any of them to take polygraphs besides Katie, in my opinion. So they're looking at Katie, in my opinion. If you just think about it from their perspective, and who was last with what's the most logical answer, right? That's all we can really use, for that. Thank you, girl mom. Thank you. I'm behind in the chat too, so um oh, my son has level 1 autism, and it just isn't the and just isn't the most toughest person on the block, and I worry 24/7, yeah, about him. I would be sharing all of this issues. I had a platform and he was missing. I mean, you would have to, and it's like you're not trying to like badmouth him or anything, but it's just like you said, yeah, you want people to know their specific unique mannerisms, because we're all unique individuals. It's just like, I mean, heaven forbid, it's scary to think about it, but like if any of us were to go missing, or any of our kids, heaven forbid, but it's like, yeah, everybody's unique and different. That's why we talk about different people's stories. The patterns that we see are important to recognize, because it can help us understand what's going on, you know? So, yeah, exactly, Holly S. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. Nerdy said, posted on X that KP lied to friends that her phone broke and LE took it. Haha, Katie, come on. Right? Yeah. Well, she is a liar, because the thing is that I just don't think Chris and Katie are used to even having friends at all. And the same goes for Clue and Cletus. So they're just happy to have each other, which is good. We all need people right in our corner, especially if we're going through what they're going through. Hey, Shadow, good to see you. Right, just whatever on the surface. There's a missing kid. It's a missing kid's case. Sebastian is missing. You know, so it's not going to be a great time. I just think, in my opinion, that Katie holds the key. She just does. Yeah, they do. That's so true, Carrie Jackson. The thing about people like Chris and the traits that he has, just let them talk. Yep, and they'll hang themselves. Exactly. Hey, Zoomer opinion. CP didn't want Nerdy publicizing that he was implicated in Bobby's kids by saying that the dogs tracked to their playscape uh, and then to the dam, in my opinion. Oh, I see. Thanks, Zoomer opinion. Yeah, he's playing games. The crispy critter. The crispy critter. Oh, Lord. Hey, Seth. Good to see ya. Aw, Carrie Jackson, thanks for the blue hearts. There's a lot of sober creators, just saying. Right? I'm not sober all the time, Sam. I try. No, just kidding. Does being jacked up on coffee, is that count? Because I'll tell you what, I looked at my trash can today. I'm like, I got like 50 K cups in there. I'm like, shit. Oh Lord. Hey, we all have our addictions, right? We all have our addictions. Jason Landry, missing Texas, state 21 years old, who went missing in December of 2020. His mom and dad was just on Crime Con with his flyers and other missing children's flyers. They are still begging for help. Amen. Bliss blessings. Yeah, that is such a good point. You don't stop. It's like you don't know how to stop. It's kind of like with Sebastian and now with Devlin, right? Because they're still out there missing. Even Harmony Montgomery, you guys. And I know that if Kayla's testimony, which I don't believe that stupid biatch, uh, even if that's true, like little Harmony was so mutilated that, it's going to be tough to find her, but I still want her to be found. I want her to, I don't care if it's a little tiny piece of her, as long as, and I know Crystal Sorey isn't, mother of the year. I know that. But, at least if she could put her to rest, man, because that's so sad. That little girl, oh my God. And the monster, who puts that child with the teardrop tattoo guy anyway? New Hampshire. No, yeah, exactly. They have flyers to spare, Bliss. They got they got flyers and flyers. Here, we got your back. We'll come over. We'll drive them down to you. We'll meet you halfway and bring you some flyers. You go put them out. What the hell? If somebody was doing that for me and I had the free time to sit in the car and talk and try to convince them of some shit, I'd be convincing them, helping them post those flyers. We are very grateful to have Seth and Jessica here. Justice for Sebastian and Devlin. Thank you. Hey Jude. Thank you. Thank you. I second that. Yes. Yes. That's what it is. I didn't make that up either, Pamela. I really didn't. I'm not trying to, make that up. That's part of it. I wish I would have known about that, or I would have never associated with any of them. Seth says I volunteered to take one, and only Nancy Grace took me up on the offer. Thanks, Seth. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. And you know, we all know how it went down. It's just them trying to get more people on board, and they're trying to convince somebody who has a more reputable, logical thinking, skill set than, the dumbasses that they picked to begin with. And quite possibly could be playing on a vulnerability of an addiction. I don't know, nerdy addict. I don't. I really don't to speculate on that. I hope the best for him. You know what I mean? It seems like him and his girl will have a channel, and that's cool. And like I said, I appreciated some of the drone footage that he had up, or the drone footage he had up, and some of the fresh commentary. So it is what it is. Uh, Lover Girl says, interesting that CP said he got tripped up on the polygraph question about whether he lied to the police or not. Well, yeah, and that's he's trying to pass it off like, ever in your whole life. And I mean, I will say that would be a tough question. Like if somebody asked you, have you ever lied to the police in your whole life? Right? Because maybe you did when you're a teenager and it has nothing to, pertaining to the case per se, but you feel like that guilt because that's what the polygraph is, doing right there is judging your physiological responses. And so, and also in comparison to your baseline responses, that's what the polygraph is doing. So, and that's the technique that was used, to the best of my understanding, by the FBI agent that gave it to Seth, right? But it was more intensive. So I'm just surprised. And the thing about it is I don't know that Nerdy Addict even knows that Seth was on camera all night. But I'm sure Terry Lynn will be in there, somehow to tell him that he wasn't, that he was in the parking lot or whatever, parking garage sleeping, which is, again, a bull-faced lie, in my opinion. Thank you, GA64. I will too. and that's the thing. We all got to stick together because it's crazy out there. There's some crazy ass people out there. They're really batshit, you know. Yeah, Katie had an Apple Watch. She did. She did. And it didn't look like the notifications were set because I never saw it go off, but her phone was going off. She's sending, that's another weird thing that she did at the Texas Roadhouse is take a picture of Sebastian and what he ate and sent it to her husband like it's any of his business. Talk about getting into somebody's business, you know? Yeah, people who need people are the luckiest people. Aw, Leslie. Lil Red says, had they been honest about the case, they would not be in the position they are in. Oh, but wait, if they had been honest, maybe he would have, yeah, we would have had our Sebastian home. And I think that's it too, because something happened, whether it was an accident, which I don't think it was at this point, because it's, I mean, the thing is about if you're trying to hide something, even if it's an accident, it's very difficult to do that, right? There's a whole person. Um, Seth, I make the strong one. I have a strong button on there, and I also have an espresso button. So I'm like, woo, you know what I mean? Like it's not regular coffee, and it is real. It is real coffee. Peggy, good to see you. YouTube spinning. Uh-oh. Did I go off for a second? I'm sorry, guys. Hey, Magic Star. That's what I was talking about earlier with the threes. Did you see that video with Nerdy Addict? Oh Lord. The threes are coming out again. Hey, Blast. Hashtag Huckleberry. Good to see ya. I like strong coffee. Mine's like mud. Like, I don't even know. I put creamer in it, and it's like I can't put too much. So I'm like, it's just dark. I tried, what was it called? It was some sort of Sasquatch coffee. It's like Black Rifle coffee or something. It was really good. I liked it because I usually just get the French roast from Walmart, like the big Walmart thing and just pound those down. Uh, Pamela says, "Is there any new news on the home raid that had, I think, a long time ago? Not sure." Are you talking about the ones that we watched from Psalms? That was a good video. I like Psalms. Psalms is awesome. Um, I shared on my community wall. Yeah, if he told Nerdy all this, what has he told Clue, etc., in my opinion. Well, yeah, and that's the truth too, and even Elevated Goof, because he was about to blow the shit up, and then they all got on the panel. Oh no, you can't do that. And that gal on the panel last night, her name is Lady Justice. I don't know. I've never, you know, I mean, it's a little creepy because I'm like, are you trying to be Lady Freedom, but you just decide to put justice instead? It's like weird. But that person was like not about justice. They were scared to say the truth or to what they were really thinking and feeling, right? Because she was treading very lightly, in my opinion. That's not justice. I don't even know who this nerdy person is. Seth, you're the new Ron Jeremy. Didn't you hear? But when I heard one false statement, then it led me to not believing anything they say. Receipts are proof. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Receipts are it didn't happen. Yeah. They said that you've been, gallivanting around you. he said, he said you were gallivanting around YouTube. And then, we had a little bit of fun with that, but that's the silly thing. Like, I don't understand what they would gain out of saying that weird rumor. But they were telling people that I was saying I was in the witness protection program and I was showing my face every single night. Like, I know I'm an avatar lately, but like, I mean, yeah, we'll just oh, it's crazy, Not bitter. No, not bitter, just strong. Yeah. Oh, good. I was wondering if my ads were working or not. I was like, "Come on, YouTube." I was like, "It's the 16th. We better get it going." We need to get we need to get that up here. I got $100 limit I gotta hit. So I know you guys were saying about having the new coffee, and I wanted to try a couple of those synthetics, but Star says no. I'd like to try. That's so true, says Jessica, and the same thing can be said in Devlin's case as well, I believe, in my opinion. Yeah, there's just so many similarities with Devlin and Sebastian. There are, Jessica. It's uncanny. Peggy says they talked about the burner phone and suppose Seth that had given it to him. Well, and that's what's crazy, guys, because I operate off of two phones myself. One doesn't have service, but it's not a burner phone until you like do something, nefarious. If you're buying it for the purpose to do something on it and then like get rid of it, that's a burner. That's the, definition of it. That's what it's used for. You pay cash for it. And like I said, don't you dare crumple that receipt up and throw it in the floorboard, because if the cops go through your car, you're pinched, right? You're pinched right there. Throw that bitch in the garbage, burn it if you have to, right? Don't leave it in the floorboard. The three things weird, right, Magic Star? 3 cameras were taken, right? After the fact. So, yeah, that made me think of you because I was like, we were talking about all these threes. Seth, in my opinion, it was a lot of BS, specifically the burner phone near Clarksville. Yeah. Yeah. I do like the black silk too. Any of the black ones are good. Like, what's the other one? It's Green Mountain Coffee and it's called Black Magic. Ooh, that's my jam. That's a really good coffee too, like a decently priced one. Hey Jen, good to see you. They're making new stories for clicks. Sorry, Seth, I pray for you both. Yeah, it's crazy. It's so crazy. It's absolutely bonkers, right? We're back to bonkers again. Little Red with Crispy Critter. After hearing what Nerdy said about Crispy Critter saying Sebastian had to be watched like a hawk, that explains why she would send pictures to him of that baby eating. Oh my gosh, Little Red. No kidding. Could you imagine? Sebastian was like under a microscope, it seemed like. Golly. Ugh. I mean, talk about smothered. And it's not like helicopter parenting where, someone's just like so worried about their kids so they're just like on their ass all the time, right? It's like it's to another level, you know? Oh. Well, Mob Crew had a good live yesterday. Yeah. Yeah, he knows more for sure. That's why he's going around yelling at ladies online and stuff and being a psycho and paying people $200, after they lose a court case. He's a weird guy. That guy's a weird guy. Like he's got a lot of major issues. I think that, I mean, like mental health is real in that one. Cuz who does something like that, you know? Yeah, she was often also afraid. Yeah. Yeah. Cuz they'll come after you, Veronica. They will. They're weird. They're a very weird subset of a culture on YouTube that whole group is. That was in his chat, that I saw of the ones that I've dealt with. So never heard of either one of them either. Yeah, I know. Elisa P was telling us that he covered Barry Morphew. There was a couple of cases that he covered. It sounds like he's more of a true crime person than a crime person, but um, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing too. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I think he's pissed off at Chris, for making a fool out of him. I mean, it is, guys, it's a lot to put these shows together, right? I mean, unless you just get up there and, wing it. I mean, but a lot of us don't do that. A lot of us are like, we know what we're going to talk about, especially if we have a guest. It's a big deal, right? Um, you know, It's about having manners on both sides of the aisle, you know. If you're a guest on someone's platform, be a guest, right? You don't go to somebody's house and, rub mud all over their white couch. I mean, hello. Thanks, Jessica. Thank you for being here, hon. Have a safe trip to the store, you know. Seth, the eyeballs, look. Oh, three is not good in the Bible. Okay, Narrow V. I heard somebody, what was it too? Somebody said something about threes or what people use threes when they're guilty or something. Somebody said that in the chat one night, and I thought that was interesting. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know if there's a correlation, but that's interesting. Um, I do want to try wasn't there like a mushroom coffee out there or something? I don't know. Now they have like new coffees with like collagen and stuff in it. I don't know. Lots of ignorance, and that's it. It's different when you don't know, you know? So, yeah. I know. It is maddening. It is. It is. Well, I just got to kind of laugh at it. She says bunch of weirdos, Jen. The queen of the queen of old Stavercourt. Oh my goodness. Hey, Cinderella. Oh my goodness. Oh, whoa. You guys blow my mind over here with the numbers. And no one had to walk with him. He didn't have friends with that played flashlight tag with him. True, Veronica. Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, too, right? He didn't hide under the neighbors' cars. Yeah, I about pulled my hair out listening to that. I know it was tough to listen to. I agree. Well, because we know that's not true, and it's just like you just kind of want to be like, oh, when you see it happening, because like I said, they like to do that kind of stuff. Like they love to see if they can push a lie with no receipts whatsoever. And if somebody says it, and especially if it's somebody who has like brain cells, and they're very proud of themselves because they got one over on somebody who's usually a logical thinker, critical thinker, because they don't like people who are logical or critical at all. If you're logical or critical, then you're not going to make it in that group, right? They want a bunch of followers, right? Not a bunch of leaders with their own brains thinking for themselves. You know, they want people that are just pushed out of a machine, right? So I've never been one to really conform. I mean, you got to conform to certain rules and stuff. You have to have manners. You're taught to have manners, but when somebody's telling me the sky is, purple and it's blue, I'm gonna tell them no. I think it's blue. I'm seeing it right now, and I'm perceiving it to be this way, right? And it is open to perception. GA64 says CP had to go to school because Sebastian was walking with a girl who was not one of his designated persons to walk him from class to class. I call BS. Well, I don't think so either. And I mean, how many kids actually go to that school? So it's possible that Sebastian had somebody from the neighborhood that knew Bobby. I mean, it's a small area. It's not like my high school that had thousands of kids in it. It's like tiny, you know? So, I mean, it's a small world. Jen. Blessing says CP when he was talking about CPS caseworker, his tone reminded me much of a horrible foster dad I had. I truly feel the CPS case has so much to do with Sebastian missing, in my opinion. I think so too, Bliss. And again, he loved getting over on that social worker. Oh yeah, I remember you. Like, how awkward would that be as a social worker? I'd be like, "You're actually happy that I'm here again?" Because most people have an "oh shit" response, right? Like, "Oh no, this is not good," right? My family's being examined by CPS is never good. But not Chris. "Oh, hey, how you doing?" What an idiot, you know? It's just crazy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's another thing I disagreed on too, Jen. Good point. Lady Justice is, in my opinion, ignorant if she thinks it's uncommon for agencies to differ in their opinions of things. And I don't think for 1 minute that Sheriff Craddock thinks that Sebastian walked barefoot to a river and decided that he was going to go over there and, fell and hit his head. If he fell and hit his head on a rock near the bank, because he doesn't get in the water because he doesn't like dirty water. He's a pool kid. That idiot Chris Proudfoot said that himself, and then he turns around and says that that's what Craddock thinks that he might have done. Bullshit. But either way, if he would have fallen and hit his head on a rock, he would be on the bank somewhere, hurt. And at this point, he would not be here, right? Come on. 3 is liar's numbers. Thanks, Hey Jude. That's what it was. 3 is a liar's number. Yes, Yeah, 3 is what liars use. Okay, see? Mushroom coffee, Jen. Hey, if it gives me a little bit more energy, I'll do it. Oh, okay. It's deception detective. NeuroV says about 3 being deceptive. Right, exactly, Seth. Lord help us if Sebastian had a female friend that creepy Chris hadn't verified first. Oh my gosh, right? Well, and I mean, that's the thing. Like, you just know people from school. Like, I just think it's so weird. So the Trinity thing was a good thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's an easy number to remember when you're manufacturing a story. Interesting, right? So 3 is a magic number. Hmm. Yeah, but I thought hindsight did a good thing. The sky's green. Oh my goodness. Aw, Sebastian loves to go trick-or-treating. I bet. That is such a fun time of the year. Like, I've always loved Halloween. Always, always, you know? Little Red, I think they all came from the land of Oz. Hey, Maui-san. Sebastian, we will find you. Thank you, Maui-san. Thanks for the green hearts. Girl, that dude lost me so many times he didn't even know that Bobby was a chick. Oh, yeah, that's true. He said, I don't even know. He did say that. He goes, I don't even know who the fuck Bobby is. And I'm like, well, just go back to June of last year and go watch JLR, or I covered it so many damn times. Bobby's interview. We've covered it like recently too. Like again, I kind of brought that in the comparisons, the polished turds. I think maybe nerdy if maybe if he has some time he can watch the polished turds because that'll put all of the topics in order and see their contradictions boom 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 one after the other. And I put some memes in there. It's kind of funny. Uh, better check that rock for fingerprints. Just saying. Yeah, really. True that, Seth. That's what I'm saying. Like, how the hell? And it doesn't even make sense. Because, like I said, he would be there, right? Not in the water. Because it's not like you hit your head and you just roll into the water automatically. Somebody would have had to put you there. I mean, that's just my opinion. And that's just, how things work in the world, because yeah, I mean, somebody could trip and fall on a rock. I mean, if you go down like Branson, Missouri, I mean, it's all hills and rocks and stuff, and it's, you got to be careful. You fall, there's no soft place to land, right? But you still are I don't know. It's ridiculous. True that, Bliss. And here's the proof of it. Katie was caught on camera in the neighborhood, right, with all of her windows rolled up, but saying that she was driving around looking for Sebastian. What mom also drives around to find her missing son with her windows rolled up? Katie Proudfoot. Katie Proudfoot. She also gave this picture to all of us and had one of her cronies Photoshop it so that nobody saw the mark on Sebastian's neck. The only thing is that they were very bad at blurring out that red mark or whatever was on his neck, because you can see it on the back wall where the blurring goes onto the light fixture cap thing. I don't know what to call it. Cover. There we go. Tessa Heaven says, as a mom, I can't get over her calling Seth first to see if he hadn't heard from him. Well, that's a good point, Tessa. Thanks for being here. And I agree with that too. You know, it is interesting that, because I think that would be the first place I would check to. You know, call dad, see if maybe Sebastian called, you know, did he call you? Did he you know, do you think he might have went to your house, you know, before? And yeah. Yeah, their story is manufactured. Hold on a second. Django. Their story is definitely manufactured. Okay, sorry guys. I had to wait till Django was done a barking. How do they look at themselves in the mirror? I don't know. I don't know how they could sleep, you know? So, yeah, Table Rock Lake GA64 exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean it's very rocky and hilly, you know, and the terrain is hard to get. You know, like you can't really wear flip-flops either because you could get stabbed with a rock, you know. You always have to wear like the water shoes there down, you know, in certain spots. Um Little Red says the thing about it is the truth is the truth. It's always the same. No need to make corrections to the truth, unlike a lie that constantly needs to be redirected to the narrative. And I agree with that too. Well said, Little Red. You know, well said. Hey Jeff, good to see you. So you know, I mean, that's one of the good things. Aw, Jen. And, aw, that's cute. You guys are too cute. Veronica says, 100% Seth would be the first one you would call. Yeah, he would be the first one I would think. Like calling Chris would be like, how did Sebastian get to Chris, right? For one, Seth is in closer proximity, but also we all know that Sebastian called his stepfather Mr. Chris. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, obviously he's not gonna go to Mr. Chris, you know? Carrie, Seth was, or excuse me, Chris was working in Memphis at the time, and he was living in his fifth wheel trailer at one of the trailer parks down there, near St. Jude's. Um, there was a couple of parks allegedly. Um, I want to know if Chris came home the weekend that Sebastian went to his dad's before he went missing. Did he come home to spend time with Katie or what? You know, sorry, Django's got like a bell bark. He's very loud. I think somebody's walking past with their dog and he can hear them. And they would call his work immediately, not to just text him. Good point, Gina. That's it. I would call up to the jail and be like, because you know that he can't have his phone and stuff. I mean, they know that, right? Because if you're co-parenting with someone and you know it's this, you know, communication is open, then you would know that, right? Oh yeah, you know, my ex, you know, my ex-husband's phone is not operational when he's working, you know. And so yeah, you would call up the number to get a hold of him directly, especially if your child's missing first thing, and notify him, you know, because you're in, you know, you're wondering what's going on. You're like completely shocked at that moment, right? You're like, oh shit, he's not here. I went to go wake him up and he's gone, you know. And then you're like, oh my god, what did he do? Go to his dad's? I'd check his windows first thing. How the hell did he get out of here, right? Because she walks past the kitchen, and that was another lie that she put out there. Oh, I went back to the kitchen to see if he was in there. It's like, but you have to walk past your kitchen to get to Sebastian's room. But then again, she told Dateline that after discovering Sebastian wasn't in his bed, she went to his bathroom to check on him. Which one is it, Katie? Come on. It's her. She's the one that starts the shit. And why people are wondering about her, it's her own fault. It's her fault. You know? Yeah, I sure will, Little Red. I sure will. It looks like a red mark to me, but I can't tell, you know? Oh, it would have been Valentine weekend, Brenda. I mean, I'm not a big Valentine Day person, but some people are. And I mean, it's the biggest time to go out to eat. Everybody's out to eat that night. Carrie Jackson, Arcadia, and Chris still in the same house as they were. To my knowledge, yes. Because even when Nerdy went past there, his pop outs on his camper were popped out, and it was in the driveway. So I guess he's working closer to home these days. You know. Hey, Marie McCall, good to see ya. And people saying Seth only had him 4 days a month is gross. I agree. My brother had to pay 38,000 to get his baby mama to show up for visits. Wow, my brother would get his son more if the mom would allow it. Well, and that's sad. That's absolutely sad. That's where everybody else is making money, the kid is suffering, and so are the parents from not having spent that with their kids. Wow, Bliss. My lord. Lady, did you see where the RV is sitting in the driveway? The sides popped out. Yes. I thought that was weird, huh, Veronica? I wonder if he sleeps in there when Katie, I wonder if him and Katie have that as like, a spot to get away. But their house is big enough to where like he could go up to the bonus room. I don't see why he would go in his camper, you know? Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. He hears somebody. Oh, you keep the slides out all year? Okay, Cece. Yeah, and I don't know what like I said, I live in my RV, so I mean it's not an RV anymore. I had an RV. Yeah, in the camper. It's a pull behind. So I don't know what it's like to like store it and have the house too. Because I moved from, an apartment to there because I don't have any kids. So, I mean, I have a grown daughter, but definitely guilt. Hey, Sasha. They could go to the bond too. Sandwich. Mob Crew was great last night, guys. Go check out Mob Crew because, like I said, if I wasn't watching Mob, I would have never known about Nerdy Addict, So, and I think it was good to kind of examine what Chris is saying these days, at least, And it doesn't seem like he was being untruthful, so hopefully that's not the case. But, you know, stranger things have happened. Bliss says it's just like the one interview. CP hushed the dog barking. How would he know it wasn't Sebastian walking in? Good point. Just like Scott Peterson silencing his phone during an interview, he knew where Lacey was. I agree with that too. Oh gosh, and just hearing him telling, when he's at the vigil for Lacey, telling Amber Fry like, "Oh, I'm at the Eiffel Tower." What a jerk, you know? Jeez. I don't know if they searched the camper, Sasha. I can't tell you that or not. Who knows? If they didn't, they should have, in my opinion. GA64 says the drone footage also shows that they have a boat now. They are just living their best lives on Mama Sock's monies, in my opinion. Yeah, well, and they both make a decent income for themselves, I think. You know, I guess Chris didn't have a boat before he does now. It's my she shed. I would totally have one of those, CC. I would turn it into a studio, like, if I had a house and stuff, which I don't want that because then I'd have to clean the camper in the house. Uh, it's kinda, I like to downsize, exactly, Little Red. So that's like, downsizing. But yeah, that would be nice because I would just turn it into a full ass studio then, and have like a big whatever table or something. Um, I rent a fifth wheel. My tip out is most of the living room. Yeah, see that's yeah, the pull out the slide outs make the big difference, right? If you don't have that, like it's yeah, it's really only for vacationing. But when if you have enough pop outs and stuff, it could feel like a little, apartment type of a thing because you have separate rooms and stuff. But you can still hear everything like very easily. Like Django's in the back bedroom, but you can hear him barking probably clear as day. Hey, Nisi Marie. Did Chris and Katie buy the house together, or did Katie and Sebastian move into the house? They used to all live in California together, and then they moved to Hendersonville because that's where Chris's family is. Aw, thank you, Sasha. Katie reminds me of Susan Smith, big time. Big time, Curie. Yeah, a lot of people have said that. Yeah, they're just living it up, Jeff. They're just living it up, you know. Yeah, that's what my thinking was too, Sasha. And I'm like, if moving to Florida, it's like if there's a hurricane, you just kind of, get everything in. And that's another thing, with my knowledge of living in a camper, type of a thing. It's like it's very easy to kind of, pull everything in, right, and leave. So when it takes him 17 hours, what the hell was he doing? You know? We love you, Cece. I'm sorry if I missed something here. I'm getting a oh, I see. I'm sorry. Divorces are so hard. I mean, they really are. Hopefully it's not, you know. Yeah, it's a relief at that point. I know exactly what you're saying on that. Aw. Cece, we're praying for you. I know that's tough, but sometimes you gotta walk out that door that's not made for you into the one that is. So that's right. That's right, Cece. That's great. And it's just hard. It's just hard. I know it because I've been divorced and I never knew about divorce too much because like a lot of people in my family like stayed married and my parents did. And so I had no idea until I divorced myself and I was like, wow, this is tough, just the whole thing. Um, I want to show you guys Hindsight's video. I think I have to take out the ending because there was like a great song in it, but it's hilarious. Hold on. Um, Let me add this to the stage.
Fast forward, and this is the most significant piece of information. And I'm going to disclose it, and I'm going to put it out on Twitter now. Roughly 1 year after Sebastian Rogers went missing, law enforcement descended on his residence and executed a search warrant. They seized multiple electronic devices, and this is the interesting part to me. So they confiscated laptops and more. And it's interesting because, again, this is hearsay. This is someone telling me that they had already given over these devices willingly. Okay. So this is the information where I've been saying on X where it's problematic because you can look at it either way. Those who work true crime have to think about a judge signing off on a search warrant, right? There needs to be probable cause. And I asked to see that search warrant or what the probable cause was. And the response was that it's sealed. Police confiscated 3 cameras in addition to all the other electronic devices, okay? And those 3 cameras were added after Sebastian went missing. One of those cameras was from Chris Proudfoot's daughter's room. Apparently, they installed a camera in her room after Sebastian went missing, and 2 other cameras. People are saying I'm choppy. Could be bandwidth. I don't know. Okay. So they confiscated 3 cameras that were added in the home after Sebastian went missing, which was interesting to me. One of those cameras was placed in Chris Proudfoot's daughter's room. I believe she's 8 years old. Police confiscated those cameras with the search warrant that was executed. I don't know what evidence led them to obtain a search warrant from a judge. We know that's sealed now.
Every legal document that's served is considered a warrant of some sort, whether it's a subpoena or some type of warrant. They still list it as a warrant.
One of these things is not like the other. One of
All right, guys. So I had to do that. One of these things is not like the other. I think that's copyrighted, but hindsight says if that, excuse me, if that is true, then why was the subpoena that he was served on February 24th, 2025, not listed in the Montgomery County court records as a warrant? The answer is because it was a subpoena and not a warrant. A copy of 4225 is proof of service from Sumner County Sheriff's Office, would give insight to all of the questions, right? And so it says right here, Chris Proudfoot, witness subpoena served on 4/2, I think it says 2025, and it's really, really tiny. But it's Texana Fernandez versus Seth Rogers et al., right? So they were subpoenaing information from Chris for pertaining to the Texana Fernandez versus Seth Rogers et al., right? So I think that was a good catch, and I think that that does make a little bit more sense, right? And Chris Proudfoot is always a liar, right? So he was on Queen Bee 4225 talking about it, right? And then Nerdy Attic was talking about them confiscating cameras and things like that. Again, that part doesn't make any sense because obviously, why would they need that if it's pertaining to Texana and the situation where they're trying to sue Seth or whatever. Stupid asses. Never a warrant in February. No, that was the paperwork that was served, and it was said over the scanner too. I have to look back and see if I can find that on, because I know hindsight has it. Yeah, it is. There's too many weird things in the case, and I think it's designed to distract, you know. Yeah, Sasha, you should report that, old man. I would. Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. Why would they serve anything to Chris in Seth's case? Ridiculous. Yeah, true. Well, I see what you're saying, Little Red, because Chris is part of that with Texana, and so is Cruella. Yeah, sorry guys, I should have probably explained that. Aw, that's very sweet, Cece. Thank you. Oh, Crime Time Buzz has it too. Thank you, Holly S. Great. Yeah, thank you. Because I know it was being played and stuff like that, and I know they actually did serve him with paperwork, but you know, it's because he's part of that crap. You know, and it's having to do with the rescue ride. The dinner that was there, and she went up to she went up there acting like a jerk. And she's like, "Oh, where's my t-shirt? Where's this? Where's the food?" Who does that? She has no manners. She's disgusting. Why did they say that our Nerdy Attic say that a warrant was served in February to the Proudfoot's home? Because that's what Chris is calling it, is a warrant. Because if you look at the post from Nerdy Addict, and he's showing us Chris's picture, or excuse me, he's showing us a picture of what Chris had sent to him. This is Chris's phone, right, and Nerdy Addict's phone, and it says, "The following are off the record. Warrant Sebastian's behavioral stuff and about the dogs." Right? And this is what he says. He says, "People suggest that Chris Proudfoot's statements differ from his past ones is a reflection of him, not me. The live wasn't about comparing his words, especially since I've never watched his interviews. My only goal is to accurately share the conversation I had when I said on X that Caden Spite shot himself in the leg. People doubted it, but it turned out to be true. My lane is mine to control, and there's never a reason to lie about the case. If other statements shift, that's their lane, not mine. Right. So basically, he's saying, I was just telling everybody what Chris told me. And I've never watched his interviews before. And this is what Chris sent over to me, telling me that the following statements are off record. The warrant, which he refers to it as a warrant, Sebastian's behavioral stuff, and stuff about the dogs. Right. So I know. I didn't figure he did though, Holly S, with some of the things that he was saying. And then also when they were saying that, Seth had like slept with a bunch of YouTubers is weird. So yeah, you're welcome, Little Red. I know it's crazy, right? It's weird. Rosebud said, okay, so the fact that maybe cameras were taken out of the house, that's all speculative. Yeah, it is. It is. Because and two, how would that pertain to Sebastian or the Texana subpoena? Like, why would they subpoena the cameras from Faith's room? And why would you even have cameras in Faith's room, you weirdo? That is so nasty. I'm sorry. I still can't get over that. Alias. Oh God. And it's just anything to just, anything they can make up. They don't care, guys. They never show receipts, I mean, this guy is. I appreciate that, So Texana's from Texas, but we don't claim her. Oh Lord. I mean, I'm telling you, that lady was weird, right? Like, why would you go in there? Where's my t-shirt? Where's this? Where's that? Like, why would you do that? Wouldn't you be like, I'm sorry about what's happening. I'm sorry for us having to meet under these circumstances. Wouldn't you be asking if somebody needed a hand with the food instead of asking to eat it? You nasty, inconsiderate with no manners. Where were you raised? Like, I'm like thinking that to myself, right? Holly? I'm like, who raised you? The wolves? Because I'm here to tell you, people don't act like that when you're a guest somewhere. First of all, again, it's about having manners. It's about going in there and, having some manners about yourself. Hello, my name is Texana. I'm here to support Sebastian. I can't believe he's missing. I hope he's found soon. Can I help you scoop out some of the food? Is there anything that I can do? Do you need help taking the freaking foil off or anything? Like what? Where were these people? Like, where's their mom? Where's Texana's mom and dad? That's what I'd like to know because they raised a real jerk. Because that's the only kind of an asshole that goes into a vigil for a kid and acts that way. Right? And then she wants money from it? That's nuts. Hey, Scranton. Scranton says, do you think that CP told Nerdy a bunch of BS just to let him go back and talk about it? Because why tell him, I'm going to tell you this, but don't talk about it. That's not CP. Well, and but he has done that in the past with Elevated Goof in them. Entitled is a very common narcissistic trait. Absolutely. Well said, Nura V. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very weird. Very weird. Yeah, not if she works for Mama Socks, and that's the thing. They're part of that. They're part of that. Um, and threatening anybody that talks about Sebastian. You can't do shit to anybody that talks about Sebastian, you weirdo. Get a life. Go get a life. Go do something good for humanity for a change. Right? Get some manners. Take some fucking finishing school. That little girl's 8 and cameras in her bedroom. OMG, that's creepy, right, Patty? I mean, it's messed up. Gina says the rumor was true when they said a warrant was served early that morning of court. People tried to say it was related to court case with Betty. Not in my opinion. Well, and I know it wasn't. I always kind of knew it wasn't. I was just kind of waiting to see what transpired afterwards, So, yeah, now I'm going to eat all your food and drinks. Rosebud says, well, if you're innocent, it wouldn't make sense to make up stories that aren't true. Exactly. Yeah, because you're trying to gain credibility, not lose it, you know? I don't know. Some people are serial sewers, right? That's a good question, Little Red. Scranton Strangler says, but elevated floof is his friend. He didn't even know nerdy. Yeah, true that. Good point. Good point. Yeah. Yeah. I think they're just trying to bring in somebody else to, push the narrative, you know? Yeah. Narcissists are a nightmare, right? With an N. Not related. No, not related at all. Nope, sure not. But I will do a little bit more research too for tonight's show. I'm gonna have to pop off of here, but I really like talking with you guys about this. Um, oh, sorry guys. He's ready to go outside. He's a barking away. Um, Yeah, I'm ready for them to open up the FBI. Little Red go to finishing school. I mean, geez, you just don't act like that out, right? And if you're with somebody that's acting like that out, I go in the opposite direction, act like I didn't know them if they're acting that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna catch me being associated with that mess. Not no. Mm-mm. Nah, I'm good. But that's what they want. These people that are doing this, guys, it's for attention. They're trying to make a spectacle of themselves. They don't care. They don't care if it's positive attention or negative attention. It's just like a little kid, right? That's acting up and acting up. They don't care whether they're going to get your positive attention or your negative attention. As a matter of fact, they know damn well they're going to get your negative attention. They're still doing it to get attention, right? No matter what kind of attention they're going to get from it. And they're smart enough to know it's going to be negative. I don't know, Bet. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know that he slammed Seth. I just think that he was taking what they were saying. Thank you, little Miss Sharon. Thank you, Leslie. I'll probably do like an 11:45 tonight, Carrie Jackson, because it will be a later show. I gotta push it up. Um, yeah, Valley Girl. Yeah, I agree too. I agree. Well, guys, I love you guys all so much, and thank you all for being here. I will see you all tonight, and you guys have a great rest of your night. And I'm looking forward to seeing the body language expert. I always like seeing that because it's interesting. Those are topics of conversation that are very interesting. So, good night, Nero V. Thank you, CC. Thanks, guys. You guys all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all very, very soon. Thank you, Bliss.